This all broke out around noon. The first. Okay, I'm just receiving word. We have Blake Leonard, an FSU student. Blake, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. And first, I just want to acknowledge, we're so sorry that this is something that you are going through right now. Just describe where you were when you first received reports of a potential active shooter, because we're seeing some video right now of a few students just running across the street. But where were you? What were you going through?
I was like kind of in the vicinity of the Union. I was at the care building, leaving the care building, and I heard about 12 shots go off. In my head, I thought it was construction at first. Until I looked behind me, I started seeing people running from the Union, like towards my direction. And then I heard another like 12 or 15 shots go off. So I started running like away from there too. And I was just trying to get off campus as quick as possible because I didn't know where the shooter was going to go or anything like that. So I just heard it from like the Union area. And it was like relatively close enough to where I could hear the shot go off and then the impact hit. So it was like, it's not like it was two shots, but it was just like a bullet shooting and then hitting something. So I was just trying to get out of there as quick as possible.
And so, Blake, you're the first person we've spoken with that actually physically heard shots fired. You say you heard 12 to 15 shots. This allegedly all happened in the student union area. How close were you to the student union?
I mean, it was about like 30 shots total. I think it was like 12 in the first like series of shots. Then probably about like a 12-second period of silence, and then another 12 or 15 shots.
Wow.
And I was probably like from the Union itself, I was probably around like 500, 400 feet away.
Okay, so potentially as many as 30 plus shots. How close were you to the Union?
To the Union, I mean, the Union's really big, so I don't know, like, maybe, like, approximation of the shooter. But from the Union itself, I was probably around, like, a football field length away.
A football field length away. And you ran to your car, or where were you running to?
I was just running in the direction that everybody else was running, trying to get out of there. And then once I felt like I was at a safe enough distance, I went to my car to get off campus because I didn't know, where that shooter was going to be going or anything like that.
Did you physically see a shooter?
I did not. I didn't physically see a shooter or anybody get shot. I just heard the shots pretty close to me and saw people running, so I was trying to get out of there too.
And when you talk about running, about how many students were you running with? And was this sort of a stampede? Was everyone just sprinting, running in all different directions, or everybody running sort of in the same direction? And how many students would you say were running in the same direction as you?
I think it took a minute for everybody to process what was going on. So whenever I heard the shots, it was like a couple people running, maybe like 12 or 20 people running out of the direction. And then I looked back and I saw everybody flooding out of the Union and everything. And I was probably like a couple hundred people trying to get out of there.
And I want to pause just for a second because we were just, we see a shot of at least just 3 students running there. And then moments ago, we saw a blurred shot. It looked like maybe someone was being carried out of the vicinity. Their image was blurred, so we don't know the circumstances surrounding that shot. About what time did you hear those first shots, Blake?
I want to say around like noonish. I'm not entirely sure, but it was around, I think it was, probably around noon exactly.
And when you talk about running away from the scene, did you run to a car? Where was your safe spot?
Initially it was my dorm, but there was more people running towards my dorm area too. So I decided I was just going to go to my car and leave.
Mm-hmm. And where are you now?
I'm off campus. I'm completely off campus. I'm probably like 7 miles off campus.
Yeah. What are you hearing from other students, maybe through through X or through text or WhatsApp? What are other students saying?
I don't know anybody personally that was over there. I just hear a lot of like in the group chats making sure everybody was safe and everything. and just like rumors, but nothing that like I can confirm or deny. So.
Sure, nothing that can be substantiated at this point. You know, we hear of active shooter situations happening all over the United States, but it must just take a toll different when it happens on your own campus.
Yeah, definitely. It's really surreal. Like, it's still registering to me. Just to think that, like, you know, I'm usually at the union at that exact time too. So it's just like surreal to me to think that like I could have woke up and, you know, gone to class today or anything like that, and my friends could have been going to class and their life be taken or just injured or anything like that. It's very surreal to think about.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Shirley, you've been in touch with your family right now. What was the first conversation you had when you talked to your loved ones?
I called my grandma as I was like running from the area, and I was like, "Hey, it's a shooting! There's a shooting." And she was just making sure I was okay, trying to just get as much information as possible, make sure I was safe.
We have sound from a student who saw the whole thing unfold.
I was parking my car, walking back, and as I was walking back, I see these group of girls crying, really upset, walking back from the student union, told me they heard gunshots, and they just ran and came back to their apartment where I was walking to. So I'm scared for my friends. I'm making sure I'm checking up on them, and I just hope everyone's okay and this gets handled soon. I just feel awful for the students on there having to go through these emotions right now, dealing with scared for their lives, honestly.
And just want to confirm, this information I'm getting about the latest injuries is actually from Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare. Their communications manager, Sarah Cannon, communicating with us right now from Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare, saying and confirming that 6 patients are at TMH, 1 in critical condition, the rest in serious condition. And that is up from the 4 that we originally reported. We know that potentially one of those people is the active shooter, him or herself. Officials say that they got into some sort of exchange with that shooter and that active shooter was shot. But the newest information coming to us right now, according to Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare, is that they are treating a total of 6 patients, 1 in critical condition and the rest in serious condition. We've heard from a number of students who experienced this themselves today. We heard from Viviana Chavez, a mother of 2 FSU students, who described for us what it was like hearing that there was an active shooter on campus and then confirming that her children were okay. She had 2 children on FSU campus, so she was just terrifying for her to hear this happening in real time and know that her children could potentially be affected, and was just so relieved when she heard they were okay. Yeah, I want to go now to Ava Arianado. She's an FSU student hunkering down in place right now and joins us live on the phone. Ava, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
All right. Well, first, I just want to say I'm glad that you were okay. I can't imagine how terrifying this must have been for you. Describe when you first received the alert of potentially an active shooter on campus.
Yeah, well, I was in class, and one of my classmates got an alert on her phone and announced it to the rest of the class. And my teacher started immediately barricading the door. And then one of my other classmates spoke up and said that she would rather go home. And so we all just kind of ran to our cars.
Wow. So did you left or you hunkered in place?
I left.
And why did you decide to do that?
Well, the building I was at wasn't too close to the union. And I heard a lot of police cars outside. So I figured that the shooting wasn't close to me, so I could make it to my car in time and I'd be safer in my apartment.
So you ran to your car. Describe what was going through your mind as you're leaving the scene of a building, hearing that there's potentially an active shooter, and then running to your car, trying to make it back to your apartment to safety.
It just didn't feel real. And I had another classmate with me who walked to class, so I was taking him home too. So I was really just scared for his safety and mine too.
And we can hear in your voice, you're still very shaken up, understandably. What goes through your mind when something like this happens? I mean, we all too often now hear of active shooter situations on campuses, but you always think not at my school, not in my community.
Yeah, I was just thinking more for the people that I knew, if they were okay. And it honestly, yeah, just didn't feel real. I've had a lot of like drills and stuff in the past, but usually it's nothing too significant. But because of how big the school is and stuff, I really was scared that it's something serious.
Did you hear any shots fired, or do any of your fellow students, are they reporting hearing actual shots fired?
Yeah, I had a friend who was in the student union campus, and he said he heard a couple shots fired before he started hearing the policemen start arriving.
And you said this was at the student union campus? He was near the student union campus?
Yes.
Okay. Are you involved in any sort of chat groups right now, or are you and your fellow classmates exchanging any sort of information that you might be able to share with us about what they're saying or how they're feeling or what they're hearing?
Honestly, no one really has seen or heard much. Everyone's really confused on what's going on. Especially, it's really hard to understand like what's real and what's not, especially with social media and stuff like that.
I want to go now to an FSU student. Emily, can you hear me, Emily?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Okay, Emily, thank you so much for being with us. And I just want to clarify, my producer was sharing with me that you actually were running from the shooter. Is that correct? And can you describe what happened?
Yes, ma'am, it was. My roommate and I were walking past Bellany and the union where the shooting happened. We were heading to College of Music, and we saw people running. One of the workers was yelling to everyone to run somewhere safe, like run, run, run. And the girl passed by us saying, "The police are coming, there's a gun." And we heard the word gun, and we started sprinting away.
And did you actually hear shots fired as well?
We think we might have heard something, but there's always construction, so we kind of played it off. We didn't think too much of it.
You thought the potential additional sound you were hearing was just sort of muffled in with the construction?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you actually see a shooter?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And when you were leaving the scene, describe about how many students were also sort of running away from the active scene.
A lot of people. I would say that my roommate and I were among the first people that started running, and then a whole entourage of people started running behind us.
And where did you run to?
We ran just away. We just ran as far as we could until we were out of breath, and now we are safe.
Mm-hmm. And when did you finally get to a place that you considered safe? Where was that place?
We are currently still there now, so I don't want to disclose my location,
Sure.
But we ran for quite a few minutes.
Describe the first conversations after getting to your safe place that you had with friends, family, or loved ones.
So I told my mom as we were walking, and I said that someone said there's a gun. We had no idea even where it was at. And then I got off the phone with my mom, and I started talking with my friends that are with me right now, and we were just freaking out. We were like, for some of us, this isn't our first experience in a shooting, but you know, every time it just is so difficult, and we were shaking, our legs felt numb, and we were just completely shocked.
How close were you in proximity to this student union area where the alleged shooter was?
At the time, apparently when the first shots were fired, very, very close. I would say probably around 20 feet.
That has to be just riveting for you to process now that you know that you're safe and that the alleged shooter is in custody, to know that you were so very close to what was happening.
Yes, ma'am. God is so very good.
And are you hearing from any other students through text messages or WhatsApp app messages, or what are the other students saying?
Yes, ma'am. I think there might be a lot of rumors going around. I think everyone's in a state of panic. I'm hearing a lot of different reports regarding how many people are injured, how many people are dead, and how many shooters there are.
seems to be a lot of paranoia and confusion.
Sure. Well, I can confirm for you that there was reports of one active shooter that is in custody, and that person was, we're hearing, allegedly shot by police. A total of 4 people in the hospital being treated for their injuries. We've also been hearing reports that students would receive a sort of all clear message when the situation was deemed safe, and not to answer their doors until they hear that all clear. That the safe word is what they're calling it. Have you received any notification of a safe word?
Yes, ma'am, we have, through FSU email.
Okay, so students, that's new information for us, have received the safe word that it is clear, even though we know.
My bad. We received a safe word for entering in buildings, not an all clear. I'm so sorry.
Gotcha. Okay, so you received a safe word that they will alert you when it is all clear, but you have not received that all clear at this point.
Yes, ma'am. We are still in shelter.
Okay, we are back now here at CBS News 24/7. You were just listening to our partners from CBS News Miami. The latest to come out of that shooting at Florida State University. We know 6 people injured. We're told 1 person is in critical condition, the others in serious condition. Right now, I want to bring in Ryan Cedergran. He is a student at Florida State University, just to get much more from him about what happened. Ryan, first off, I'm sorry that this happened at your campus. I just kind of want to know what happened in the moments that all of this unfolded. What do you know? What are you hearing from friends?
Yeah, I was in the student union at the time and in the bowling alley. And so our student union, there's the main floor and then there's the lower level. The bowling alley is on the lower level. And the lower level has a bowling alley, and then we have doors, and then next to it is a bar. And the bar is open to the entire union, where there's no doors. It's just kind of an open space. And all of a sudden, everyone in the bar area started running. And that was when we all kind of were like, this isn't normal. This isn't right. We need to go do something.
And so, Ryan, I just want to be clear here. You were in that student union building, because we're hearing that the shooting happened either around there or inside that building. So you were in that building at the time? I
was, yes.
And so did you hear any gunshots, or you just saw students running and decided, okay, there's something going on here?
Yeah, I didn't hear any gunshots. My first instinct was something's not right here, and we need to, go shelter somewhere, because everyone immediately running is not normal.
Yeah. And Ryan, where are you right now? Were you able to get out of that student union building and head back to somewhere else on campus? Where are you?
I'm back in my apartment now, yes.
And have you heard anything from your friends? We know several people, sadly, have been injured in this. One of them is in critical condition. Have you heard anything from your friends? Anyone that you're concerned about right now?
I mean, off the top of my head, I don't know of any friends that were in the building at the time. But I do know that, we just went and protected ourselves, and I've had so many people reaching out to me, because the student union, I work in the student union. I spent a lot of time there, and I wasn't on shift at the time, but I was, just hanging out there along with a lot of other people at the time. It's the hub of campus. It's a union.
And Ryan, I completely hate to say this, because oftentimes we hear about school shootings, whether it's at a university or high school, elementary, and you just imagine, well, that sounds super far away and that will never happen to me. I want to know what's going through your head right now. How are you feeling after all this?
Yeah, it's some of it's a state of shock. There's that going on, and then there's shock. There's gratitude. I could not be more grateful for being here, and then also for the first responders, the Florida State University Police, the Tallahassee Police. I was calm, I think, throughout most of it. There were people around me that were panicking, but I just was like, I trust that Florida State Police is going to be here within a matter of moments, and just do what I can and now to be safe, and then just wait for police to come help us out.
Ryan, can you take me back to that moment? I know you said you saw, it sort of just sounded like commotion. You didn't hear any gunshots, but you saw people running out. What did you guys do? Did you run out of the building, or were you hoping that maybe police officers would show up and tell you guys what to do next?
We immediately hid. We first hid in the billiards room of the bowling alley, which is glass. It's open to the front, but it's kind of around the corner. So we were able to kind of almost put another wall between us and the outside, but it was also glass. So once we saw police get down to the lower level was when we went and hid further behind the bowling machines, which, has doors that we're able to lock. And then it was probably about 10, 15 minutes until the police came and escorted us out of the building.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you correctly, you guys did not run out of the building. You ran somewhere else to shelter in place and waited for police officers to come lead you out of the building.
We did not. Yeah, we did not know what was going on. So in the moment, we were just like, we know we're safe here. Let's protect ourselves first, and then go from there.
And can you talk to me about the security situation at that union building? Because typically, of course, you have police on campus. Most campuses have police officers. But that building, do you typically see security officers around the place roaming?
There are police around a good bit of the time. It's not always, but it's a good bit of the time that we'll see them just going in and out of the union. And then we, the headquarters for the police is minutes away. It's in a hub of campus, so they're, if they're not in the building, they were, close enough to the building, and it was within, a few minutes, I believe, that they were on scene, and I'm just so grateful to them.
Yeah. And Ryan, I know you posted on X right after this happened. What did you say there? And what, I suppose, what made you feel the need to, express yourself about what you were going through? We're looking at that post right now.
It was just, I'm so grateful to be safe, and just to let people, my friends and family, know that I am safe and I'm okay. And, it was just, a moment of like, I can't thank
Ryan,
FSU
thank
police
you
and
so
Tallahassee
much for
police
joining
enough.
us. I know this was a very, very difficult situation for you. We really appreciate